As promised, we had put out a challenge for our supporters to provide anything that they wanted us to give points on. And we had a couple takers. So, what we want to do is make sure that we make it interactive, make it engaging, and let y'all know that although we got thousands of points that we could bring up, sometimes we want to make sure we hitting y'all where y'all want us to be. And so, I'm going to present one of the questions that came across in the comments. And I'm gonna encourage you guys to continue to comment. And who knows, we could randomly either get you on a pod or respond to your questions, real time on an episode. So, with no further ado, if you get with someone and you know you settled for them, can you really justify being mad at them for not meeting your expectations? So, Mr. OB, if you get with somebody and you settled for that person, are you bogus for being pissed off that they're not who you expected them to be? What's your point?
Man, this is so deep. First of all, we need to know why you settled for anybody. We need to go back to your self-esteem and why would you settle, or why do you think you deserved to settle for anybody for any reason? Why are you settling in life? We got to look at ourselves and figure out why we're not giving our best. Why is it okay with the purple ribbon? Why didn't we try to get the number one? So to me that's the first thing. And then so expectations. If you settled for someone, it's unfair to give them the same expectations that you would have had for the number one choice. So how do you interpret settle?
Right, right. And see, I think that's where the confusing part, even in the question, and I don't know, how this question got cobbled together, but the idea of it seems oxymoronic that you say that you chose someone because settling is choosing, right? You know what I'm saying? I settled on the burger. I had pizza, Chinese, all this other, but I settled for a burger. So I chose the burger. Let's no bones about it. I chose the burger.
To
Now,
me,
go ahead.
you chose someone. You didn't settle for the rest of the stuff. Like, did you choose someone and then settle for someone else? Pick them instead? If you pick someone, you didn't settle. So it's oxymoronic. I agree with you.
Yeah. What the idea though is when you do choose someone, and we just changing the whole shit up, huh? When you choose someone, you choosing all of it. It's all inclusive. People know that relationships and all kind of things in life exist in an 80-20 rule. 80% of it is going to be exactly how you want it or a subset of what you want. And then there's going to be 20% that's you deal with because the 80 is so good. But thinking that everything is 100% or you even deserve 100% is a damn lie. You lying to yourself. And I think that if you start focusing on what you don't have instead of realizing what you do have because you deserved it, then that's the nature of where people get fucked up in relationships because they think that they settled, not realizing this was the best you could do.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's what it is. Let me give it to you like this. So I'm gonna break it down. Um, I got a car and I had $10,000. So I got me a $10,000 car. And as much as I wanted a car, I really had expectations to be a street racer. Well, I was wrong as fuck to get that $10,000 car. Like, shame on me for putting that $10,000 car in a street race that I expected to win. Unless I'm going to invest more in that car and build it up like a relationship. Hey, you know what? I see potential in this old jalopy, right? I see potential. So I see it's got good bones. So sometimes you get with somebody and they got enough of what you think can be polished off and manufactured and remanufactured into something that could lead to your expectations. Now with a car, it's different because the car is it's a tool. It's just gonna car. You can't get a sports car and turn it into a monster truck. That's not how that works. So shame on you if you have unrealistic expectations. But sometimes you get with somebody, you say, if I get him in the church, or if I get her out the hood, or if I get a little more money, things will change. But unless you coordinated that with that person, shame on you. That's number first. Now, the next thing in that is you start sewing into that person. You could tell whether the alternator be slipping. You could tell where the clutch is bad. Like you could, so you're not really in a situation where by the time you marry them or you make it a legitimate, you know what I'm saying, situation with y'all two, you knew what you had. You don't, unless you in that situation, like some people, I know Tamara Hall, the lady on TV, said she married her husband after 3 months, or they was living together after 3 weeks, or some shit like that. That type of microwave stuff, you kind of know what you're getting into. So if they divorce tomorrow, I ain't got no nothing for that. Because man, you try to microwave that stuff, and cakes don't taste as good out the microwave. You got to bake a cake. And the reality of it is, when you say, if I get with someone and you know you settled for them, as you stated, why? Why did you have $75,000 but you got a $10,000 car? Something is more, the math ain't mathing on that. So the chick that you fooled around and settled for, it was something that you thought was a benefit to you. You settled for the rest of that shit. But I don't know if it was the ass or if it was the cookies or if it was, whatever. If it was her title or her daddy job or whatever, it was something that you didn't settle for, because nobody just says, I hate all this stuff, I'll take it.
I agree 100%. So the first thing you have to internally ask yourself is, why did I settle? Why did I willingly settle? Or
Hmm.
why am I telling people that I settled?
Hmm.
Because whether it's they didn't have all this beauty you wanted, or they didn't have the job you wanted, but they had a place to stay, or they didn't have a job but they was available to help you clean up or something. It's a reason you picked them. So really, you're being toxic telling a person you settled when you really didn't.
See, I'm
They
gonna go
add
deeper than that.
something to your life.
I'm gonna go deeper than that. I believe you being toxic, telling yourself you settled. Because the fact is, when
True.
a woman get with a dude and say, "I usually don't deal with a dude like this," why have you lowered your standard? You know something has decreased about you, and that's the new standard. You say you lowering your standard, but the standard is the standard. Listen, I have a standard that I don't like for people to slap me in the face. There's no lowering of that standard. That don't mean, well, if it's a child, then I understand. I let 8 and under slap me in the face. No, the standard is nobody slaps me in the face, because I feel like I'm better than that. I'm better than
Right.
walking around getting slapped in the damn face. So therefore, when you have a standard, see, when you say you settled, that means you went below your standard. What made you get off the damn standard? That's a you thing. That's a self-esteem thing. Something was above your standard and you thought it kind of balanced out, right? So here's the situation. They say men with more money get away with more things with women. They say women with more beauty get away with more things with more men. So here's the deal. She treated you like shit, but she was cold in the mud. You didn't settle to be treated like shit. You gamed up to be with a colder than the mud type of chick. That's what happened. So stop making yourself the victim with this settle. It's oxymoronic to say you chose to be with something less than when you had the option to be with something better. There's no way you at a job making $36,000 and job offers have come in for $100,000 and you settle on a $36,000 job, unless you know you don't do shit at a job and they love you at that job. Like there's something that's balancing it out in your mind. Because if it was the exact same job, same company name with a a .edu at the end of it instead of a .com, you taking that shit. Same title, more money. It's a no brainer. So when you start saying you settled, I don't believe that. I believe you accepted what the negotiations bared out. You went in with negotiations. They said, "No,
Mhm.
sir, you ain't worth this. You ain't worth that. We're not giving you a long term. We're gonna franchise you." And you was like, "Okay."
I agree. So you brought up something. You brought up the
Hmm.
standard. So where the
Hmm.
standards come from? Are you comparing this new person to your ex,
Ooh.
or where did these standards come from? Because if you created some standards, which is the highlights from your ex, we talked about this before, and you
Hmm.
apply them to this new person who brings a different set of skills, you're still wrong. So
We done talked.
settling, Go
Go
ahead.
ahead. No, you got it. Go ahead.
So settling is probably you put together this perfect person, right?
Hmm.
And this perfect person, which doesn't exist, we're here to
Hmm.
tell y'all, perfect people don't exist.
Hmm.
But this person has a set of skills that benefit your life, but they don't have everything. So you're settling for less than perfect. That's not realistic. So first, come off the settling thing.
And I think that that's true. What I would caution and say is this: nobody's perfect, but you can find somebody that you feel is perfect for you. Not all the time, but maybe most of the time. So let's just take it from the 80-20 rule to the 95-5 rule. Now, here's the problem with that though. I have not been able to connect with the 95-5 rule because I don't deserve that. If she's fucking all of that, I can't get her. You know what I'm saying? If this
Right.
chick is a Rhodes Scholar, a Muay Thai fighter, a cordon bleu chef, and can braid hair and do dishes, I don't deserve her. I have to at some point in time establish my score. We back on this FICO score. I gotta know my score to know what house I can go after. I gotta know my score to know what girl I can go after. I can't be a solid five and my expectations are nines and tens unless my bank account is a nine. Unless I'm Russell Wilson at the bank and with the hair. You know what I'm saying? Like it's gotta balance itself at some point to where she sees the investment in me. Because no great woman is settling for your ass. No great woman that's got no 95 is gonna look at me and settle for me because I know my flaws. I'm good with that. I'm suspicious. In fact, if if a chick come to me and I deem her as 100, if I deem her as a 95, I don't trust it. I got too much baggage. I got too much going on. I got a couple kids. I'm not trusting that. So it's going to be a situation where you got to match, you got to equally yoke the situation. And I think if you a religious person and you understand where you can iron sharpens iron and we can do this together and we come in under a consolidated front to say, listen, this is where I'm great. This is where you great. We're going to combine these things and be great. We're going to accept each other's deficiencies. I don't like this, you don't like that. I'm a little overweight, you a little underweight. I'm fast, you slow, whatever the case may be. Then you have to realize, man, that's not you settling. That's you accepting the choice at your disposal and you're choosing. This is the choosing. You know what I'm saying? That's what it is. Because if you
What?
say you settle, what it means is that if something else better come along, you're gonna always be looking for the upgrade.
Damn. What? Why does Russell Wilson's hair have to do with the? Never mind.
I was tr- I was
So
trying to think. I was trying to think of things that women say they like about him, right? And of course, he play a man sport. He got a lot of money and he got good hair. So that be putting him in a different category than dudes. But then when they talk about how corny he is, they won't want to settle for corny. It's like, are you kidding me? We had this conversation about Sierra and her scouting, but that's what it is. So being mad that the expectations, I'm always mad when people secretly indict motherfuckers anyway. When your expectations you have of someone are something you never let them know. I get I get what my wife got
that's
talking about.
exactly
She
what
ain't
I'm talking
freaky
about.
enough.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's exactly what I'm talking about. We're talking about expectations.
Right.
So mad because they don't meet your expectations. That sounds secretive to me
Yes, sir.
because when you're cultivating this relationship and
Hmm.
then ultimately agreeing to this relationship,
Hmm.
that's when the expectations should have been discussed.
Hmm.
You that's you don't even agree to the relationship if the expectations aren't agreed to.
Hmm.
So why would you
It's
be
up.
mad if they don't meet something that they didn't even agree to? If they agreed to it
I
and they're
think a
not
lot of
meeting it,
people
that's something different.
totally different. It's an understood thing, right? So hey, listen, but see, this is the problem though. You not a good chick if you're not a great woman if you start accepting dudes that don't meet the standard. When you start accepting dudes off potential, that's a red flag. Shame on you. I met him and he had just lost his job. And so we start talking, and I just, stuck by him through his tough time until he can get a new job. Tell that dude to get back at you. He ain't got time for this relationship. He trying to get a fucking job. He trying to get his career back on track. He ain't got time to cultivate nothing with you
Oh yeah.
and get his career back on track. So you wrong for putting that on him to say, how come you still every time I come home you playing Madden and this and that? And he like, look, I had to clean up. I had to make sure that you bitching about this, you bitching about that. Like you got to make sure that you stay out of relationships where you're trying to get with somebody in transition if you're not in transition. Now, if y'all transitioning together, beautiful thing. It's great when people can grow together and learn together and experience it together. But I'm not trying to be settled, good, and then I raise a mug up. No, I'm not a shepherd. I'm not trying to raise a broad up. If I get with a broad and I'm settled, she's settled. Man, I'm saying she matching with what I'm matching. Hey, she go for a dinner, I go for a dinner. Like we exchanging everything. There is no robber because there's a fair exchange. I'm not needing her to do nothing for me. I'm not leaning on her credit. I'm not leaning on her grace. You know what I'm saying? She go to church, I go to church. Like I'm maybe I'm too competitive like that, but I feel like you're gonna have the best results when you feel like you're not doing any more than that other person, especially when it comes to effort. And so a lot of times these situations come down to you had expectations on their effort, and they're not living up to those expectations on the effort. But that wasn't in the original contract. That wasn't in the original statement of work. So why people ain't more honest about their statement of work is because they're not willing to do the other side of it. If you have expectations of them, or if they have you know what I'm saying? If I tell this chick I got these expectations that you be this, be that, be sexy, be whatever, then if she come back with a list, I'm gonna be like, how dare you? How dare you?
Right.
So,
So, Money Mike said it best to me. He
mhm.
had a conversation, an emotional, deep, heartfelt conversation with his woman. It was like, listen here, this is what you're doing, and this is what I need you to be doing. Why are you, and that's the nicest way I could put it,
Yes, sir.
if they're not willing to work with you on that, then that's something different. And that has nothing to do with settling. That has to do with we have a miscommunication in effort in this relationship. But as soon as you say, I settled for you, you're going to destroy all that. Even if you come to, if Money Mike told one of his women that he settled for her and then said, hey, we need to talk. This is what you're doing and this is what I need you to be doing. She's not going to listen. So don't
Mhm.
even introduce the settling toxicness into the relationship or the communication is going to be cut off. So whoever thinks they settled should have never been in the relationship to begin with. You should never settle is the first lesson. And if you did
Let me,
settle, keep that to
yes.
yourself.
I don't, so let me tell you when it is a time to bring out the settle. Okay. I'm going to use two
Okay.
examples. One of them is at
Hmm.
your job, and the other one is in your relationship. I'm at this job, and I know that I just wanted a job. I just wanted something to do because I was unemployed. But at the same time, I was building myself up. But the job wasn't giving in to me like I was giving to myself. The job wasn't training me like I was training myself. And ultimately, a better job saw that. And they came and said, hey, we like what you got going on. We'd like to bring you in because we want to give you a chance to grow here. And they give me an offer that's double what I'm making at my current gig. I go to my current gig and say, hey, y'all know I really had aspirations when I got here. They're not being met. I settled, but now I have this offer from this company. They have the opportunity to match that. And I don't find that to be inappropriate. Now let me flip it. I'm with my girl. And my girl know I had just came off of another long relationship. I'm on some rebound type shit. She knew she was getting a deal. You know what I mean? But she also knew I was a grinder. I was this and that. And while I was grinding, I was saying, hey, let's go do this. Hey, let's go volunteer here. Let's go. And she was chill. She was chill. And I was saying, man, I really wish you would be more into this and more into that, more into church, more into stocks, whatever the case may be. Well, at that point in time where I bring Tisha to the door and say, hey, you know this has been coming for a long time because I settled. And now I have to move on for the sake of my own happiness. That's when you say you settled. When you out there, you can't settle, you can't say you settle and stay, is what I'm getting at. You can let her know I settled, and that's the motivation why I moved on. But she knew you was settling the whole time because as you stated, you was communicating the whole time. That's when it's appropriate to use the term settled because now you chose to upgrade because you actually realize, man, I'm settling for less day in and day out. She's getting worse, and me being here is me settling for her getting worse. That's what I think. Maybe that's what he meant. Maybe he
So,
meant
but
he
I
got with her and she
disagree.
was great. Hmm?
I disagree. I think settling is at the time of agreement on the relationship. I think what you described is outgrowing. So if you've
Ah,
outgrown me and you bring home a long jawed heifer and choose to go with her,
right,
then I'm like, okay, go have fun with that long jawed heifer.
right. Go
I've
forth. Go forth.
outgrown you
Right,
too, or I'm comfortable where I'm at. I don't want to grow
right,
no more. I
right,
like this 1 bedroom, 1,500 square foot. It's
right,
nice. The yard is cut, even when it rains. Like
right,
that's
right.
outgrown to me is a course and it's fine. But settling is at the time of the when love is supposed to be at its peak and we're making this agreement.
Yeah,
One person is head over heels and the
yeah,
other person is down at the bottom of the hill and saying, oh,
yeah.
I guess I'll take you. And to me, that's a reflection on them, not at the person that's at the height.
I stand corrected. I stand corrected. You absolutely right, and that is the term. And I think that what it is once we start growing, we expect for people to grow at the same rate. But if we're not willing to help them understand why we making these moves, because generally, if you together with somebody, you making a team move. So when you start making team moves, the team should know about it. But a lot of times people want to surprise the other person with these things or come up with these things on their own in a vacuum. And I think the theme that we both talking about is communication, open, vulnerable, candid communication. Hey, I don't like this anymore, or this is not as great as I know when we first got together. We used to be smoking, drinking, and chilling all the time, but I'm kind of tired of all that. So I'm about to, start going to church or start doing this or that. And you like, nah, I ain't on that. Okay, now you got to make a determination of how long can that person not be on that before y'all not really vibing. Because what I don't want to do is get to a situation where I got venom in my heart for her because I've naturally outgrown her. You use the great, that's great, bro. That's the gospel right there. When you start outgrowing, but that's the expectations. I let her know, hey, I'm trying to head this way. Or let's say we got together, we was in church, we was doing this, that, and the third. I'd like to go smoking, drinking, and chilling more. Hey, I feel like I deserve to be back here smoking, drinking, and chilling. And she like, I ain't known that. And I didn't get you with you for that. You ain't the man I married. You ain't the man I got with. You right. I respect you noticing that. But this the dude I'm gonna be from now on, and you willing to stand on it. The bad part about relationships is when you start growing and they aren't growing at the same pace and they're not growing in the same direction. Y'all obviously growing apart, and you allow for it to fester. You allow for it to secretly become bitter until y'all have negative energy for each other and it becomes cancerous to where now as human beings y'all can't even vibe, y'all can't even talk because you let it go too long. You and I both been in relationships where we ended it and it was too we ended it 2 years too late, 2 months too late or whatever, and now we got a little bit of negativity towards her. We could have killed that if we had a seen that first thing, gave her the warning shots, and then when she ain't take the hint, nobody get the hint until the weapons is drawn, right? So you pull out the weapons and then they still want to stand on it. Okay, I got to put you down. I got to put you down. And I think that's the fear is because people feel like being in a familiar negative situation is better than being alone. But you never going to get what's for you if somebody's in that spot. That spot's got to be open in your heart, in your life, in your soul for somebody worthy to come in and nab it. And I'm not saying it's negative that she's not worthy. It just so happens she's not worthy. You picked too soon. But that's the thing. You got to let shit marinate. When you get with somebody, you got to peep the scene, do the recon, figure it out, go through 4 seasons. Give me the 4 seasons, fam. I think that'll wrap it up good. Give me the 4 seasons.
Man, so if you meet somebody and you feel like you're ready to get married soon, you got to pump the brakes. You got to give their relationships at minimum 4 seasons. I recommend 8 seasons, but really at least 4 seasons. You have to know how that person is on their birthday. Do they celebrate a birthday month or do they just want to chill at home? You have to
Right,
know how this person dressed in the summertime. You
right,
don't want to find out, you don't want to settle in the wintertime and find out they're hoochie in the summer soon as the
right,
sun hit.
Right.
or they don't, or he don't like to wear drawers in the summer, right?
Right.
Fall, you want to see how they react when things start closing up. Are they supportive with their kids in school? Or you gotta know this about a person. Winter, that's usually associated with holidays, right? You have to
Mhm.
know if this person wants to be with the family. Do they get drunk with the family? They want to spend nights with the family. You have to at least go through 4 seasons to show your how you react with your family and to see how they react with their family and see how it blends. Because they can also insist that you spend all of the holidays with their family. And
Mhm.
you like, hey, I got a family too. But if you start dating them in January and you ready to get married in June, you don't even know this yet. At least
Mhm.
give this mug 4 seasons.
Mhm. But that's the microwave situation we was talking about. Everybody want to microwave something, but just like you were saying, it's a situation where if I get with you and I have standards, it's okay for my standards to evolve. It's okay for my standards to, but if my standards is I don't want to do shorter than me, that is your standard. Stop trying to make qualifications as to why it's okay. Because they make nice dudes that's taller than you. But don't say, well,
Right.
he's nicer to me than anybody else has been. Give it some time if you deserve that really. You being honest with what you really deserve is the key to everything. You knowing your score. Everybody think they a fucking seven. Everybody, with like my man Kevin Samuels, what I'm saying, God bless the dead, said there is no seven. Take seven out of it. Now you got to stand on eight. You got to stand on
Right,
eight
right,
or you
right.
got to
Are you
stand on
really a
seven.
eight? Right.
Right,
And I don't
right.
think me and you or anybody really start start resenting people
Hmm.
unless manipulation is involved. When you say that you've been given effort or you trying to grow with me, but you
Hmm.
really wasn't, that's when we start getting upset and start resenting people. I think because if
What
somebody
about
was trying, go ahead.
hmm No, I was gonna say, what about when they lying to themselves? Because you do get people that genuinely, authentically lie to themselves. They tell you stuff with good intentions, just to get the conversation over with, to get you off their bumper, and then they think, well, I'll just go ahead and do it. But then time goes by, or something comes up, and they get distracted because it's really not that important to them. Real talk, it wasn't really that important, but they just needed to survive that conversation with your ass. And then you get to the point where you say, hey, did you do this? Did you do that? Oh, you know what? No, because then it gets into the story. Now the story, now the story. That's why I'm big on spreadsheets. Spreadsheets tell a better story because it's pass fail. Did it happen or didn't it? Yeah, you can call a credit card company and tell them all the fucking stories you want about you not paying that thing. It's gonna be a problem. You can call the light and gas company, tell them all the stories you want. Eventually that thing gonna get cut off. You got to pay. That was the relationship dynamic. I give you this power, you pay for this power. It's just and I know people don't want to say relationships is business, but if you understand the business of how to support the dreams and the desires and the heart of your person, then you in good business relationship with somebody and you can make that thing work to the best level. But it's a situation where you never had intentions on going to his mama's at Christmas. But you've been telling him this whole time, he's been telling other people, getting all this stuff together, and then you come up with, oh, it was at this Christmas? Yeah, it was this Christmas. It's that false reality that you perpetuate just because you feel like if I play this person off long enough, and if they allow for that, it does become the new norm. If you let somebody do you like that, then they feel like it's okay to do you like that. You got to cut them off. You got to have a good, quick cutoff game as far as what your expectations are, what you see as a deposit within the relationship, and what is a withdrawal. And then you got to balance that book. You know what I'm saying? So that expectation is I'm not gonna let you, and it sounds so simple. I expect for you not to shit on me in this relationship. I expect for you not to take advantage of me in this relationship. I expect for you to consider me and listen to me in this relationship. I respect for you to grow with me in this relationship. And the moment that none of those things are happening, I expect for us to not be in this relationship. How about that? How about that?
Yeah, I agree 100%.
So But yeah, that's it. But yeah, I think that if we go back to the original statement, if you get with someone and you know you settled for them, can you really justify being mad at them for not meeting your expectations? First of all, justify to who? Because all you should care about as far as your relationship is your fucking feelings if it's somebody that's against you. So who are you justifying it to? You can't convince them. For those who believe, no explanation is required. And for those who do not, no explanation will do. If I'm telling her you ain't treating me right, you constantly going out with your girls, you don't respect us, you ain't on the same level, on the same path, on the same trajectory as me, I don't need her to verify that shit. I see it. I know this. I'm telling you because I see it. So you giving me all these stories and explanations don't mean nothing. You can't justify anything. Once I've come up with a determination and I can justify it to myself, who cares who else I need to justify it to? I don't have to explain it to my mama. I don't have to explain it to her. Now, if you got kids, you might have to at some point explain it to the kids when they mature enough to understand it. But other than that, when you start worried about justifying being mad, first of all, dogs get mad. People get angry and upset. So do I really need to justify being upset for you not doing what you said you was going to do if that's what the expectations came from? I don't have to even worry about that. Well, I know what I know. Now, if you didn't ever say it and I just came up with these dreams of my own, shame on me. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I'm mad
Yeah,
at me and I had to get over that. I had to get over that.
yeah.
But
And my
I'm not gonna
response
be
to
with
that
somebody
is
if it ain't
is
happening.
never settle.
Right.
That's just
That's
don't
where it starts.
settle.
Yeah.
And like you said, settling is on you.
Right.
It's your decision. You chose to be in a relationship or you didn't. That's
Right.
all you do. And what's your expectation? What was your guidelines? What told you that you was actually settling? Was it your parents? Was it your last relationship? Was it your friends? You probably need to block all that out anyway. So don't settle. Don't settle in the first place is the first thing that you should do.
Right.
And what was the
I
other
think
part of
that
the question?
no, it was the mad at the expectations, not meeting expectations, and it was the settle. Can you justify being mad at them not meeting your expectations? But I'll tell
I
you
think
this.
I think
Go ahead.
relationships, all relationships have expectations. Those are two
Hmm.
different things.
Hmm.
Expectations, relationship expectations, and we can get into this in another pod, but that's like the relationship scorecard. How well are
Hmm.
you doing against the expectations? Every
Hmm.
relationship has expectations. If you're failing and you want to blame it on you settled, that's one thing, but that's toxic. If you're meeting those expectations, I know you want to brag about it. Or exceed them, you want to brag about it. And if you're not meeting, don't bring in the toxic with someone you love saying you settled. You say, how can I get there or how can I help you get there?
Hmm. I think, and we talked about this before. We're gonna have to do a little deeper, but I think me and you saying the same thing in this regard. The key is communication, vulnerable, upfront, as much as possible, early and often communication, because they say that the primary contributor to divorce in marriages is finance, issues and arguments over finance. But let's go a little deeper than that. It's the lack of open communication, people trying to sneak and do stuff with the money, people trying to, you know what I'm saying, embezzle the money, people trying to act like it ain't what it is, and then you get surprised when stuff start getting cut off, or the people that's at your house, the loan sharks and all that kind of shit. The issue is, if you have a plan and you can set up something with your other where y'all sit down and have a communication plan of expectations, a communication plan that's a living, breathing document. So when I change my mind or when I want to go in a different direction and I want to grow, you give me the chance to say, I'm still on this train or I'm not, you'll get so much further down the track. The issue comes in when you secretly don't have no intentions on the destination we agreed on. You have secretly quiet quit on what we had going on, and I've been working my ass off. And I look up and say, man, we both shoveling, but I'm way deeper than you, and I ain't that much fucking stronger. Yeah, because that's where the venom comes in. That's where the problems come in. So in a nutshell, when you say you settled, how was that possible? Because if you told them what you really wanted, they should have never accepted the job. So you led them to believe they was good enough. Shame on you, bad communication. And then the next part of it is, can you justify being mad that they didn't meet your expectations? If you told them your expectations and they told you that they could meet it, you should have seen that they wasn't able to. You should have scouted better. Your reconnaissance is wrong. So you do have to take some ownership of it. But I think if y'all communicating openly and y'all making sure each month, every 2 weeks, y'all go back and look at the game plan, then you can avoid some of this negativity down the road where you done tied in some of your finances with this person. You done went through 4 seasons and realized, damn, I don't like you at this time of year because you get too depressed. Or I don't like you at this time of year because you spend too much, you want to do too much. Or you like to go and do and all this other stuff that I don't consider to be of high value to me emotionally. You got to be able to calibrate all that to know if this person is for you. And if it's not for you, have enough faith in yourself to wait on that person. Wait on that person to show up and get you. Because when you get with somebody that don't really get you, you getting got. And that's my point.
Yeah, that's a hot point. Oh, I got one more thing. Hold on.
Give it to me.
What if they lied on their application?
That's where that's that open, vulnerable communication thing. But here's the deal. Even if somebody lie on their application and they say that they can code and they can do Excel and they can do PowerPoint and all this and that, when you put them to work, you see they can't do that shit. You got to stop them lies. You got to say, hey, I thought you could do this. Yeah, I'm a little rusty. How long is it going to take for you to get unrusty? Because I need this. I need Excel. And then when
That's
they say,
where the
well,
observation comes in those 4 seasons.
yep,
In those 4 seasons, what you see is those red flags that you should not ignore.
Absolutely. Yeah, so just you got to trust yourself, believe in yourself, and have standards and expectations of yourself that you're not willing to compromise. When you start compromising and then you get mad because somebody allowed for you to compromise and they being less than because you allow for them, you try to be nice. Stop trying to be fucking nice when you're miserable. That's not the time for it. It's not time to be nice when you sad. Save that for when you happy, right? Be happy and nice. Don't be miserable and let people just do you any kind of way. And then you don't have to worry about these type of statements. And I think that hopefully that answers that question. And we gave a lot. We gave different perspectives, but I think from the main focus is that communications aspect, and it's speak clearly, speak truthfully, speak fairly, and don't care whether they like it or not because they gotta respect it. They gotta respect it. Ain't nothing like being lied to for years and this person never had intentions, never had the talent, never had nothing that could have led you to be ultimately happy if you could have just got with somebody that could have made you happy in that regard. So just be choosy, be a choosy lover. This concludes another episode of the Hollow Points Podcast, where we act as your therapeutic outlet on topics many think about but are afraid to speak on.
Oh, you're welcome.